What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, aka the Sub Scientist. And this video is a follow up to my Jade is Bald video. And I'm making this video, not only to provide some important clarifications, but to reiterate the main point that my first video was making, which is this. There are a group of rabid online so-called MK fans that are reperpetuating patriarchal viewpoints in order to denigrate the fact that Jade is bald in the upcoming Mortal Kombat 2 movie. And they are using a wide range of arguments in order to back up what they're saying. But a lot of those arguments fall flat. Okay? So, one of the clarifications that I want to make, and I said this before, I thought I really implied it directly, but I'll say it outright. It's not all MK fans. It's not everybody that is making misogynistic arguments against Jade being bald, or patriarchal arguments, or arguments laden with patriarchy, I should say. So one of the criticisms that I got was that it's okay for people to dislike the fact that Jade is bald, and not everybody that's in that camp is doing so for patriarchal / misogynistic reasons. And that much is true. I already said that my video is mostly directed towards motherfuckers that are going to the point of typing up bullshit against Jade being bald. The people that are so displeased and so upset that they are voicing their frustrations with Jade the character being bald. I ain't talking about the people that just, maybe they don't care for the look, or they don't like the fact that she's bald, but are otherwise going to see the movie and give the shit a chance anyway. I thought I made that very clear, but I think I've made it clearer now. So if you're one of the people that, you just don't like the fact that she's bald, but otherwise you're more concerned about other things, then cool, I ain't really talking to you. I do think it's worth examining why you don't like the look, though. I do think that's worth examining for real. Why is that your preference? Doing a deep look as to why that is your preference, because, the fact that people have this idea that Jade can't possibly be bald, like that's like an affront to the character. I find that to be wholly disingenuous and unrealistic, because it's like Jade's hair has nothing to do with who she is as a character and her contribution to the Mortal Kombat universe. Like, yes, Jade has always been depicted with hair, but her hair is not her character. Her hair has nothing to do with her character. What her hair does have to do with is people's perception of her beauty. And because she ain't got no hair, or the actress that plays her doesn't have hair or is bald in the film, it impacts the way that they feel about her hotness, and therefore her value as a woman. I'm gonna show you where that comes from in a minute. I'm gonna show you why I'm making that argument, because of things that I've been seeing. But anyway, this ain't Sindel. Chanel's hair is an integral part of her character. This is Jade. If Jade didn't have her staff, that'd be a big issue. If Jade wasn't a black woman in this film again, like she wasn't in MK Armageddon, even though she's been black in every other goddamn Mortal Kombat game, that would be an issue. But her not having hair is literally a non-issue. It has nothing to do with who she is as a character. Nothing. Nothing. And anyone trying to argue otherwise is being disingenuous. They're choosing to focus on their idea of what classic Jade looks like, even though there's no correlation between the way that Jade has looked in one game versus another, other than the fact that she's green. Like, she's varied quite a bit in her appearance from game to game. You know what I'm saying? And her hair is taken on a different style as well. Literally the only connecting tissue between one game's version of Jade and another game's version is that she's green. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So all in all, there's multiple camps of people. One camp of people just doesn't even care that she's bald at all. They're like, oh, she's bald? Yeah, okay. You know, they're focused on other things, like the lack of a Sub-Zero, or the fact that Baraka sounds like a regular ass human and is like a smart ass, or the fact that damn Cole Young is in the game, you know, or in the movie again still. That's one group of people. Another group of people are the people that actually like the fact that Jade is bald, which that's cool. I didn't know that, you know, such a camp exists. I need y'all to be as vociferous as these other motherfuckers. Then you got the group of folks that don't really like the change, or they don't like the change because they think it diverts too much from her classic departure or her classic look, or they claim that she's not recognizable. I think that's funny, because there wasn't a sole person who looked at that trailer and thought that that character was anyone else other than Jade. She wasn't mistaken for Tanya. She wasn't mistaken for a new character. We all knew that was Jade. So if we all recognize her as Jade, what is the problem with recognizability? You see what I'm saying? Like, we know that's Jade. We knew from her staff. We knew from her fighting style. We knew from her green. We knew from her outfit that it was Jade. The only deviation is her hair. Right? And movies make deviations from the source material all the motherfucking time. Every adaptation does. And not just in Mortal Kombat, but every goddamn movie. Every movie that is made from a book or a game or anything like that, or a comic, makes adaptations to the character. They all do. And people accept them. People have no problem accepting the alterations that they want to accept. They ain't got no problem with it. Because if we're gonna, talk about alterations to the movie, how about the fact that Jax is black? I'm sorry, not Jax is black. Jax is bald. Excuse me. That's what I meant to say. Jax has only been bald in one other MK game, and that was MK versus DC. The game that don't nobody like and people try to forget existed, To be clear, in Mortal Kombat X, he had an alternate costume where he was bald. The Revenant Jax was bald in that game. But that wasn't his default costume. He's only been bald as a default costume in one game. Every other game, Jax has had hair, like a high top fade and a mustache. In the MK11 or MK movie from 2021 and this game, he's bald and he has a mustache. Ain't nobody saying shit about that. Ain't nobody also saying shit about the fact that Kano got a whole ass full head of hair. Well, to be fair, he did have that in MK9. Did he have it in MKX? I forget. He had it in MK9 and then MK11. So maybe not a full head of hair, but whereas Kano's typically depicted as bald. But ain't nobody saying shit about the fact that Kano's a goddamn ginger in this movie. And he ain't got no metal on his face. And, he ain't got no black dragon with him. He still seems to be one of the good guys. Like, all of those are adaptations that depart from the source material. Ain't nobody saying shit about that. What about how Scorpion looks like he's wearing a goddamn winter coat with his outfit? Like, his shit, he got a brown and gold bundled up ass costume. And the boy got grays and he's old. When has Hanzo Hasashi ever been old? When has Scorpion... Damn, what the fuck's going on with this frame rate, bruh? Is that the video or is that my computer? I don't know what the fuck going on. Hold on. Jesus. I am so sorry, you guys. I had this playing because I don't have any gameplay of Jade to show you, and I wanted to show some high-level gameplay, but that shit is like... Is that my video or what? What the fuck's going on? Hold on. Technical difficulties. My bad. I figured out what the problem was. I was in such a rush to record this video that my shit wasn't even plugged in. My bad. But anyway, I was talking about the differences between the games and the Mortal Kombat movie. And I mentioned that, Scorpion looks like he's dressed for the motherfucking winter with his damn hood and thick ass costume that ain't yellow and doesn't look like anything that he's worn in the games. I mean, he looks much more like he did in Injustice than he ever did in Mortal Kombat, if we being fucking for real. Not to mention, we have fucking Elder God Raiden being short and Asian instead of tall and white. And in the first film, he ain't look barely nothing like his damn video game counterpart, which people did criticize a little bit. But, And then, of course, the biggest alteration from the movie is the inclusion of a motherfucking Cole Young, who has no business in this movie at all. And to be fair, he got a lot of criticism. So that is an example of people being critical of an alteration from the game to the movie. But my point is, we've already accepted a bunch of alterations and deviations from the source material all the time. Hell, the games themselves deviate from the source material all the goddamn time. All you gotta do is look no further than the story of Sindel in MK11 or the origins of Scarlet between MK9 and MK11. Those two origin stories deviate from each other for both characters. So the source material can't even stick to its own source material. So how do you expect the movie to do it? Now, does it mean that it's unreasonable to want movies to be relatively close to the source material? Of course not. It only makes sense. You do want to see characters that you recognize and see them do things that they would have done in the games and in the movies or in the books or what have you. But this upcoming Mortal Kombat movie seems to be the most Mortal Kombat game-esque movie that we've ever had. They have the goddamn portal from Mortal Kombat 3, UMK3 in the game. Okay, you got Raiden looking like his MK2 counterpart. You got all these various action sequences where characters look like their game counterparts. Hell, even Baraka as weird as he sounds, he looks the way he looks in the games. Okay? So we're already getting a movie that is historically aligned to the game. So that argument is disingenuous as fuck. Not to mention, the argument is often a subterfuge for the real problem. What am I talking about? So let's look. So I found this article on CNN. I typed in Halle Bailey, Little Mermaid, and this was an article written on September 22nd, 2022. So this is talking about the racist backlash that Halle Bailey received when she played a formerly white Ariel from Little Mermaid. So we got this hashtag, not my Ariel, we're bouncing around social media. YouTube hid the dislike counter on the video, and it was bombarded with racist comments and more than 1.5 million dislikes. So in the trailer, this is the shit that it got. I actually want to see this. Let me see. Look at that shit. Flooded with racist YouTube comments and downvotes. So when a black woman appears in media, this is the bullshit that happens. People acting a motherfucking fool. A bunch of triggered ass males getting their panties twisted up in a knot. Now, some of the comments have voiced reasonable concerns. Just like here, there's reasonable concerns about Jade not resembling the way she looks in the game. But then many others have attacked her appearance and disparaged the concept of a dark-skinned mermaid. Okay, now, to my knowledge, no one's being racist towards Tati Gabrielle. They're not making racial comments against how Jade looks in the game. But my point is, there is an underbelly of people waiting to act a motherfucking fool when you have a black character that pops up in a goddamn game or in a movie. Okay? Look at these. Look at the claims that this person had to rebut. Little Mermaid is Danish and Ariel should be white. Mermaids wouldn't have dark skin. Mermaids are European. Making Ariel black is changing or ruining childhoods and changing the character. Ha! That is what I'm trying to get at here. So, one of the common criticisms of Jade being bald is that we're changing the source material or deviating from the source material, right? So I want us to look at this. There's legitimate reasons to dislike a movie or a character. These critics hide their discomfort behind thin arguments like claiming historical or cultural accuracy. I'm going to include lore accuracy in there. Okay? So changing the character. So they're debating whether a dark-skinned Ariel negates or erases the classic version. Okay. Now, by the way, similar arguments happen right here. So this is just a quick little Reddit page, and we know Reddit can be really, really funky and spunky, all right, in terms of like people having content. But this is the title of the thread here. And I actually quite liked the comments that I saw in the thread. If that's the only problem with people have with the trailer, that's a good thing. I'm still on the fence over Baraka. I love this comment. I ain't log in, but you know. Let me see. This is Mortal Kombat. If that's what takes you out of this movie, that someone has a shaved head, this movie ain't for you. Now, look. Here we have somebody attacking the damn actress. She has nothing but sexist and ugly attitude inside and out. Lord hell. Now, this is what I was talking about. Some people have this attitude. I thought it was odd to make her bald, and it's certainly not the look I prefer, but at least her outfit is green. That's what I'm talking about. People recognize her. They thought it was odd, and they don't prefer the look, but they understand that that's Jade, and they don't get no fuck. They still gonna watch the bitch. You see what I'm saying? So, as to the nuance that people thought I didn't include before, here it is, motherfuckers. Then why not wait for the movie to come out to find out why, instead of people complaining, just complaining right away. Here we go. So I think this is the argument that some people think is the primary argument. It's a drastic change to the look of the character. Basically, Jade fans feel as if the priority is more given on the actress on the role rather than bringing the character to life. Okay, let me see. See why. Oh, I made this same argument. Let me see. Closer than Annihilation. Damn. This right here. This is the whole motherfucking point of the first video I made. This right here. People think the bald look is ugly. This motherfucker not talking about the fact that it's a departure from the classic look of Jade. They think it's ugly. And a woman being ugly is a motherfucking sin. Now, some people have this argument, of course. But this is the argument I'm talking about right here. This is the main argument. This argument is slightly reasonable, except for the fact that Mortal Kombat changes its mind about its characters, its lore, its depictions, and all that shit every 2 seconds. The game ain't never been the same. Okay? Let me see here. Here we go. This is the point I'm talking about. I'm honestly surprised that people are so upset about this. We see different iterations of the characters in nearly every game. Why should she care? The whole controversy is so odd to me. I don't like the design, but it's also not a game. The movies are almost never canon, and all the movies, and why care? They did this to fuck with the Jade stands. Yeah, see? Now, just to back this up further, I don't know who this person is, Dr. Disaster. He claims that Mortal Kombat 2 wrecks Jade by using the heretic prophets rejected design. Has been completely rejected. Let's look at the comments. Seeing that thing. I guess he's talking about the movie. Okay. Look. Zegler 2.0. I'm glad. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Zegler 2.0. Oh, that Tanya, whatever that was, really hit home. MK has been woke for a while. Let me see. The moment I saw this actress, I closed my wallet. Oh, look at that. Katana fighting Jade. Everyone will be rooting for Katana to beat up that Golem. She's Golem now. You see what I'm saying here? Look at this. Look at this. They're really attractive, really jealous of attractive fictional characters. Yeah, they can't stand seeing hot, sexy femme fatales on screen in fictional entertainment. Jade, Tanya, E from Stellar Blade, Bayonetta, the original Poison, get them triggered, excuse me. They are jealous of any woman that looks like a real woman. Wow. So, it's not Jade, it's Jada. That is not Jade. They ruined my Jade. Hated the film for what they did to Melina. Now Jade. This is crap. You see this shit? This is the bullshit I'm talking about. This is the bullshit I'm talking about, people. This. Tell me that there's not major misogyny here in this comment section. And mind you, it's 1,700 of these motherfuckers. This video's been watched damn near 50,000 times. And that's a big deal right now because Mortal Kombat ain't doing too hot on YouTube at this particular moment. So for somebody to get 50,000 views on a Mortal Kombat video right now on YouTube by saying Jade is ugly and her being bald has ruined the movie, that tells you that this idea has reach. This idea has reach. This is not just some Twitter bullshit that exclusively lives there. People who think that Jade is now ugly and therefore less valuable as a woman because she's bald, people that think this way are occupying every corner of the internet. Okay? These motherfuckers are spewing patriarchal ideas about how a woman should look, particularly a woman that is fictional. You saw it. These motherfuckers want their women to be femme fatales. What in the Jada Pinkett Smith hell is this? They should hate this slop. I feel fatigued. I feel numb. They butchered my girl. Look how they massacred my girl. Do you see this shit? Like, they made Jade bald as well as fugly. Wow. Cyrax went Wakanda. Sector went Oni-chan. I don't know what the fuck that means. They ruined the classic. But you see what I'm saying? Like, this is what I'm getting at. She got the Tanya treatment. Why can't we have elegant, beautiful, and feminine female characters nowadays? Look at this shit. This is what I'm saying. And I'm just going to say, this perspective is garbage. Garbage. I have yet to see a female... I'll say this, I'll put it this way. The overwhelming majority of female characters in games of any kind today are elegant, beautiful, and feminine. Virtually all of them. I can't think of one that's not. Even the ones that are more brolic are still beautiful. They still are very feminine. You see what I'm saying? But this is how motherfuckers feel. This is misogyny, gentlemen. So all you motherfuckers out there talking about some not all men, not all fans feel this way. I don't give a fuck that it's not all of them. It's too many. First and foremost, duh. Of course it's not all men. Of course it's not all the people online. But who gives a fuck that it's not all of them? This is too many. This right here is too many. You see what I'm saying? I was going to talk about Rachel Zegler, but I'm not going to do that. I don't know. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm not sure. But I think I've made my case effectively here. What is my case? My case is, sure, there are certainly people that are just perturbed that this current Jade doesn't quite look exactly the way that she did in the game or in the games. But A, that's not entirely true, because the only thing different about her is her hair. And B, even though she doesn't look exactly the same as she did in her games, everyone still knew it was Jade anyway. So any claims about not being able to recognize her are bullshit, because everyone knows it was Jade. And they knew it was Jade immediately. But also, I'm also making the point that people hanging on to this idea of, you know, the Mortal Kombat movie needing to obey the established lore that has, you know, been a part of Mortal Kombat for the past couple decades, they're completely ignoring the fact that the lore doesn't even obey itself, for one. And two, every film depiction of Mortal Kombat has always deviated from the lore in major and minor ways. The characters always deviate from the way they look or act, or both, in the games in some way, shape, or form. Some more than others. Including in the very movie that we have yet to see. There's already some drastic deviations. Some of them I talked about. Okay? So this idea that people just want to see shit they recognize, motherfucker, they recognize Jade already. They recognize everybody in this movie. And them not being able to recognize motherfuckers is not a goddamn excuse for them to go online and start making these dookie ass, bullshit ass, misogynist ass motherfucking comments. And anyone that does that shit, I am going to go ahead and call him a misogynist. You're motherfucking right. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because you saw it from their own mouths. Certainly there are some people that are like, well, this is not the way she has looked. And I don't care for that, because I don't like that she's different than how we remember her from the game. And that's a reasonable point of view, fairly reasonable. But again, it's worth examining why you don't like it. Why do you accept why do you accept all these other alterations but not this one? What about this particular change bothers you so much? They didn't change her character. They didn't change her origins. You know she's going to be bald for a reason. What you don't like it for? I think it's worth examining whether maybe subconsciously, maybe you kind of agree with some of them fucked up ass comments that we watched where people say bald is ugly. This is not my Jade. They butchered Jade. This is not the Jade I remember. I think it's worth examining whether some of that is part of your subconscious. And the fact that some of you seem to be deeply unwilling to do that is evidence that I need to I definitely need to be making videos just like this where I challenge you to do it. Where I call out the fact that, yeah, some of you motherfuckers are out here positing patriarchy. That's what you're doing. What you are saying essentially is, if this woman doesn't fit my personal tastes for what I deem as hot, beautiful, feminine, and attractive, this woman is not valuable to me. She ain't valuable if she ain't hot. And since bald is not hot, bald is bad. And that's a patriarchal point of view. It is. Say what you want. Be mad if you wish. It's patriarchy. Women are allowed to look the way they want to fucking look. Tati Gabrielle is allowed to be bald in the movies and the shows that she's in. And it does not devalue the movies or the shows that she's in. I don't know nothing about her personal conduct, but the fact that people are saying that she's toxic and sexist and shit makes me want to look her up and see what the fuck she done said that done triggered so many motherfuckers. Because it makes my other point for me, which is when women in real life step outside of what society accepts as normal or acceptable or appropriate for a woman to say or for a woman to be, that's when the woman gets the labels on her. That's when she's labeled as toxic. That's when she's woke. That's when she's a problem woman because she's strong and independent and shit. They probably, if I had to guess, don't like that she said some shit that they consider to be woke. Just like Rachel Zegler sat there and basically said that the prince in the original Snow White was a motherfucking stalker. And this new film's not going to have him doing that shit because that's creepy. Motherfuckers heard her say that and they turned her into public enemy number one, amongst other things. So anytime a woman steps out of line, these dudes, these males in society want to step in and try to rein her back in line. That's why you have motherfuckers happy that Diddy didn't get the fucking book thrown at him. Because they already didn't believe Cassie to begin with until the video came out. Then once the video came out, they wanted to find any kind of justification to say that she either deserved it or asked for it or something. Motherfuckers be waiting to put women in their place. And them motherfuckers is misogynists. Or at least misogynists in training. They are perpetuating patriarchy. Again, I don't give a fuck if it's not all. It's too fucking many. And I'm not going to pretend to be objective about it. I do have a viewpoint. My viewpoint is that shit is bullshit. My viewpoint is that this shit is untenable for the foreseeable future, which it is. Because like I said, these women coming up, these young ones that's in college or going to college, they're going to come out of school, they're going to have jobs, and they're going to tell you motherfuckers to kick rocks. You motherfuckers that can't talk to women now, they going to tell you motherfuckers to kick rocks. They not going to deal with y'all bullshit. Y'all going to be alone forever fucking with these girls. So you better learn to adapt. You better learn to be amenable to these women. You better learn how to be decent motherfucking people. Who can value a woman for more than how the fuck she looks. I'm just trying to tell you, dog, because if you don't, that's finna be your ass, bruh. And even if you got a girl right now, you better tighten up, because if she decides to step out, somebody gonna step in real quick to pick her up, whether she was right or wrong in the relationship. Can the same be said for you? I rest my motherfucking case. But in closing, I want to leave y'all with this once again. Perpetuating patriarchy does not mean that you are doomed or that there's no hope. It doesn't even have to mean that you are a bad person, because anything that is learned can be unlearned. But you gotta fucking try, and you have to be made aware that you woofing some bullshit. And that's part of what this video is aiming to do. This is a pattern. When these dudes see a woman, particularly a woman of color, not abiding by societal standards of what is acceptable behavior and looks and shit, they get to tripping. They get to typing bullshit and perpetuating patriarchy. This is a pattern. This is not just a Mortal Kombat movie thing. This is not just a Jade thing. You saw it out of the mouths of those commenters themselves. They brought up Jade. They brought up Tanya. They brought up Rachel Ziegler. They brought those motherfuckers up themselves. They even brought up Tati Gabrielle and her other game that she's a part of, where she's also bald. They're the ones connecting the dots. Why are they connecting the dots? Because it's a pattern. And it's this pattern that I'm decrying against in the Jade is Bald video series. Now, in the words of Jay-Z, if you can't respect that, then your perspective is whack. But unlike him, I ain't fading the motherfucking black. But with that being said, I'll catch y'all later. Y'all stay froze.